What's up, guys? Lately on the channel we've been going over how to make our own jigs. This is one that we made up in that last video, and what I've been doing is crunching some numbers and figuring out how much it costs to produce each one of these jigs and comparing that back to like a standard just average price jig that you get from Tackle Warehouse or Bass Pro Shops, and comparing and figuring out how many of these jigs we can make before we are starting to save money compared to if we were just to buy jigs every time at Bass Pro. So let's dive into the numbers a little bit and take a look and just see how much you're saving to make your own jigs. All right, guys, here is the rundown of all of my costs for all of the materials and all of the upfront costs that we have to making the jigs. So first of all, lead at $3.20 per pound. A melting pot so that we can melt that lead down for about 50 bucks. We need a lead ladle for $6. A mold, so just search Barlow's, Lure Parts online, Jan's Netcraft, something like that. Find a mold you like. That's about going to run you about 35 bucks. Hooks can be, you can go as expensive or as cheap as you want on them. These ones are pretty cheap. They're $2 for 10. Powder paint's going to be about 8 bucks for a little container. You got to make your own fluid bed, which I've got a video of. That's linked down below. That's about 25 bucks after that's all said and done. Weed guards, about $10 for 100 of them. Wire, the craft wire that you can pick up at Hobby Lobby, Michael's, something like that. It's just floral wire. That's 4 bucks. And then skirt material, obviously can get a little bit more expensive or a little cheaper depending on which ones you want. But that's going to be about $2.50, and that's one color. And that'll get you about 10 tabs, and usually it's about 2 tabs per jig, so that's $2.50 for 5 jigs. All right, here's the equation for how much it costs for me to make one jig. So it's a half ounce jig, $3.20 per pound divided by what is that, 16 ounces in a pound, so 32 jigs is 10 cents in lead per jig. 20 cents for a hook, 16 cents for powder paint. That's a rough estimate. Weed guard is 10 cents a piece. Skirt material is about 50 cents per jig. And wire for tying the skirts together is about 4 cents for a total of $1.10 per jig. All right, sit back and buckle up, everyone, because now we're starting to do some algebra. So we've got $1.10 per jig plus $50 for a melting pot plus $6 a ladle, plus $35 per mold, and $25 a fluid bed. So that gives us the equation down below. It's roughly $4 on average for a pre-made jig that you get at Bass Pro Shops or Tackle Warehouse. And basically, when you run that equation, it comes out to be 40 jigs that I'd have to make in order to start saving money making jigs. So, breaking it all down, for these individual jigs, like the one we made in the last video, it cost me in materials. So after all of the initial startup cost is eaten, for this one jig, it cost me $1.10 to make compared to the 4 or 5 bucks that you pay for a jig at the store. Now, obviously, you can get carried away with this, and you can start getting a ton of different skirt materials, a ton of different jig head paints, just a ton of different stuff, and it can get way out of hand and get way more expensive. So be careful if you get into this because it can get out of hand. Now, there is one other option I want to talk about, and that's buying a jig that's without the skirt on it, so just the head, the weed guard, and it's already painted. You can buy those off of websites. Boss Jigs makes one that you can just pick any different head style you want. They got a ton of different paints to choose from and different fiber guard options. The issue with that is it's going to be a little bit more expensive. It ends up being about $1.50 per jig head. Now add 50 cents on there for a skirt and 4 cents for wire, and you're looking at $2.04 per jig instead of $1.50 or $1.10. Sorry. So it is more expensive to go that way, but still $2.04 is a far cry from spending $4 or $5 per jig that you get off Tackle Warehouse. I've got a link in the description below to the website where you can get those jigs. It's just another option for you to try and see. So
that's another option. Guys, that's basically the breakdown of this. Is it more cost effective over time to build your own jigs? Yes. And not only that, but you also get the option of to really customize and get exactly the jig you want. You can spend more money and get better hooks and put better hooks in your jigs, and it's going to affect your cost. It's going to make your cost go up. But at the end of the day, it's all what you want out of that jig. You can go with the basic 10-cent hook or whatever it was, and it can serve you fine. But if you're wanting to upgrade to like a really nice like Gamakatsu hook, it can be quite a bit more. So we're going to keep diving into some of these jig videos. We're going to make some more skirts. We're going to do some different stuff, and we're going to start venturing into other lures as well. And then hopefully we'll be fishing here before long. So subscribe to the channel for more stuff to come. Thanks, guys. We'll see you.